Hey everybody, it's been a long time, so I have to be honest, I do not feel like making a video right now, but it's been so long and there's so much to tell and a lot of things have happened just in general and with the pregnancy. So I was going to make videos while I was on vacation, but a few things happened, so I got really sick just with the nausea from being pregnant, but I got sick, and in my family's house there are, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there are 5 bedrooms, and most of the time in the house there's at least 10 people in there, and so it's hard to get to a place that's going to be quiet enough where you're going to be uninterrupted in order to take a video of any kind. And anytime we left, it was because of some sort of errand, so it's not like I could sit in the car and have somebody not need the car immediately after me, so didn't really have a chance for that first Thursday. The second Thursday I spent in the hospital, so my son got an infection on his skin. Well, he had regular bacteria on the surface of his skin that got inside, and we had to take him to the hospital. They held him for 3 days, so that included our Christmas Day, and it took about half the time that we had to spend with my family. So there you go, that's why the second Thursday there was no video. In terms of pregnancy, I went to that doctor that my mom sees, found out that he's retiring, or I guess he now has retired. He retired at the end of the year, and I saw him. He did a quick ultrasound. Okay, this is what I was talking about when I said that ultrasounds are not that accurate. So he did an ultrasound. He did find that I was measuring behind, but multiple days different than the other ultrasound I had. And these ultrasounds so early are supposed to be so accurate. So for them to be different by more than a day or two, to me that's like, well, then how do I know that it's going to be accurate at all no matter when I get it done? But the good thing is, this is what I've decided, the good thing is that if I push my due date back, you know, the estimated due date that a doctor gives me, even if that's not my correct due date based on the baby's age, that gives me that much more time to go into labor naturally. That gives me so much, you know. What he said is that I was measuring 11 days behind instead of 14, and so he told me if he was my doctor, he would adjust my due date from July 13th to July 24th. Now, he's not my doctor. I haven't established care with him. The doctor I'm going to be doing my regular care with, I'm not seeing until the 16th. So we'll see what that doctor says. But he did say that, like I said, that it was 11 days instead of 14. And so to me, that's just, I just have to look at it rather than looking at it in the way of thinking these people are stupid. Excuse me. I need to look at it in the way of, this just gives me an opportunity to let my body do what it needs to do, let it have time, and the clock is just extended by 11 days, and that's great. And if I go to this other doctor and he does another scan and for some reason it's 14 days off again, well, then it's extended by 14 days instead of 11. So I just have to keep that in mind, and the health of the baby is more important to me than when the due date is or how accurate their ultrasounds are. So that's really what I'm concerned about. The morning sickness has turned into more than just nausea. I'm now vomiting all the time. Yay! And the Zofran that I'm taking is my only saving grace. And I forgot it while we were seeing my husband's family for a few days, and it was miserable. He got sick, and he was so sick, and then I was sick with the nausea, and he neither of us could take very good care of our son, and it was just good to be with family at that time instead of being at home, because then we got a lot of help. Things other than that, flying was not good at all. There was one time that when we flew home. It was a very, very late flight, and we were supposed to be sitting in row, I think 21 or something like that, and my son wouldn't sleep. He was overtired, he was crying, he wanted to move around, run around everywhere in the airport, and they tell us, you know, over the speakers overhead that the flight is going to be full, and so if anyone wants to check one of their carry-ons for free, that they can do that. And so immediately I'm like, all right, we don't need this bag. This bag has a bunch of extra diapers and wipes, and I'm talking like packages of diapers and wipes, not just the, you know, the loose ones that we had for changing my son. And so sent my husband up there with the bag to get a tag for it. And during that time, they printed out a new boarding pass for him. Row 6, first class. They upgraded us, told us Merry Christmas, thank you for your service. So thank you, honey, for being in the military and getting us first class. It was so wonderful. The way that my son was acting, there was no way that we could have been sitting back in row 21. He was just all over the place. But those two large chairs, being by ourselves, allowed for him to move around a little bit more. When we were in first class, okay, if you've never been in first class before, you know how you usually get those plastic cups that are like this big, and they fill it with ice, and then you get like this much juice if you get juice or whatever you're drinking. Yes, well, they offered us drinks before we even took off, okay? So I have this little plastic cup like I'm expecting of orange juice. I drink my orange juice, which was awesome. And then they take the cups before we take off. Okay, well then we're in the air, and immediately, before they're even doing service behind us, they offer more drinks. And this time, they bring a legitimate juice glass. Well, I don't know if it's a juice glass, but it's like this big. It's an actual glass, and it's, you know, it's round, it's big. It probably held, I don't know, close to 12 ounces or so, and they put enough ice to make it cold, but not to fill up the whole cup like they do normally. And I had like 4 glasses of orange juice, and they brought us hot cookies. Oh my gosh, it was so wonderful. Needless to say, I ate gluten because, well, hot cookies in first class. And they have these TV screens on the back of the seat in front of you, which I've seen before, except you don't have to pay to do anything on them. And they have movies that are still in theaters. I didn't get to watch anything because of the way my son was acting and me having to be the one to take care of him. But I played Angry Birds because my son thought it was funny. We usually don't let him watch or have anything to do with electronics, but since he was being so difficult and we felt bad because we were in first class and that these people pay to be in first class so they don't have to deal with kids, we felt bad, and so I pulled up Angry Birds and I was, you know, pulling it back, letting them go, and my son's newest thing is saying boing, and so I let the birds go and showed my son, and I was like, look, Raj, boing, and he thought it was so funny, and so all the time now he's like, dong. That's his way of saying boing, because he can't say bees yet, but it is so adorable, and it worked. And after he went to sleep, it was like a 2-hour and 50-minute flight or something like that, and he was awake for probably half of it, if not more. And since we were in row 6, which is the back end of first class, there was the wall dividing us from the business class behind us, and so we couldn't lean our seats back, so I didn't get any sleep on the flight. Thankfully, my husband, who usually does not drive at night because he gets too tired, drove the hour and a half home and let me sleep in the car, and I'm so grateful for that. Let me tell you, this nursing plus being pregnant plus being sick is so exhausting. I have not found a way to cope. I haven't gone back to do any exercise because my regular life is making me feel terrible. So I don't know how I'm supposed to exercise, and I can't eat normally, and so I haven't been able to keep up with my hydration. I'm going to try to get an IV. I was telling my husband last night that I think that what I may need, I don't think I'm going to be able to catch up for my hydration on my own because drinking water makes me feel sick. And I think that what I'm going to need is to get an IV with fluids to catch me up, and then hopefully I can just keep caught up. I can drink enough water to keep caught up, but I don't think I'm going to be able to do the catching up myself. So I'm going to talk to a doctor and see if I can get an IV for that. I mean, you probably can't tell in this video, but my lips are so chapped, and it's more than chapped. My lips are like breaking, it feels like, and my skin is so dry. I took my bottoms off the other day. I had some kind of like a workout pant on just to be comfortable at home, and I took my pants off and it was full of dry skin on the inside. It was so disgusting, and I was like, that right there is how dehydrated I am. So dealing with that, hopefully I'll get an IV for that. I do have a doctor's appointment again with the civilian doctor that I hate. That's on the 10th, so that's coming up. That appointment, the only reason I'm keeping it, I made the appointment as a courtesy to them. I didn't want to be rude, and I was just planning on canceling it, but I've decided to keep it so that I can go to the doctor because they were trying to pull my surgical record, and I'd rather just go to them and talk to them about the surgical record than go to another doctor and go through the process of them pulling the surgical record as well and waiting on that. And then I just think it's easier to just go talk to someone who already has it. And just because I go and talk to them doesn't mean that I have to continue care with them. So that's nice. And other than that, I mean, nothing crazy. Now we figured out with me, I lost my job nannying right before we went on vacation, and with losing that job, I'm not making any money anymore, and I'm so sick with morning sickness that I'm afraid that if I start a new job that I'm just going to fail immediately. But I did apply somewhere and I haven't heard back, and it's been 3 weeks or so, and due to this, a lot of the things that I was planning on doing to help me with my VBAC, I'm going to be unable to do, such as there's like a $250, something like that, birthing class that I wanted to do. There's a VBAC specific class. It's only like $30, but $30 right now when I'm not working is a big deal. And then I might not be able to get a doula, which kind of scares me because even having the doula with my son with the C-section was a great help to me. And if I'm going to try and conquer a VBAC, I really want a doula. But there are only basically 2 choices where I'm going to be living. And one of them is $900 and one is $600. So I don't know how I'm going to pull that much money out of my butt. My mom was talking about throwing me a baby shower. And I think that what I'm just going to tell her is that instead of gifts, that if someone wants to just help us pay for a doula, I think that that would be the best gift that we could really get. I'd rather not be traumatized or have an unnecessary surgery. And I think that avoiding an unnecessary surgery, or just knowing that I've done everything I could and then still getting a surgery, is better than getting blankets and toys for a baby when I already have so much stuff, and my mom already has so many girl clothes. And we also have in-laws that had girls that have clothes, and I'm sure that they would let us use them too. So I just don't feel like, I feel like the gift of a doula would be more meaningful to me than, and more helpful than gifts for the baby. Maybe that's selfish, but I just want to be in the best situation. The other thing is that when we are moving, I don't know how we're supposed to get all this money to move because it's like it's like a 14 or 15 hour drive from here, and the military pays for your move, which is fine. What I'm more concerned about is having to have the money to drop to get into a new place. Every time we have to do this, which it seems like we do it once a year, you have to drop upwards of $2,000 just to get into your new home. And part of it's because we have pets. And let me tell you, if we just gotten these pets, I would get rid of them in a heartbeat. But we've had our cats for years, almost one of them basically our entire marriage, which is 5 years. So we just are at a point where they're a part of our family and we can't get rid of them. And pet fees, that's part of what kills us. So I'm hoping that our tax return will be big or something, because I don't know how to support our family in another move. And this is partly because of the military. This is partly because I lost my job. And this is just a part of being married, a part of being a mother, a part of being a military wife, that we're moving again. The only reason we've done all these moves is because of the military. So I'm just hoping that things work out and that we are able to do that. I really don't want to be 8 months pregnant and not have somewhere to live and have a baby too. So the good thing is that if that were the case, my husband could stay like up where we're gonna be, and then we could go down, I think it's like 5 hours or something, to my husband's parents' house, and we could stay down there until my husband found somewhere to be. But I really just don't want to run into that problem to begin with. So hopefully all of that will work out. I'd like to be completely moved into a place before I have a baby this time. With my son, we were not moved in by any means. All of our stuff was there, but we were not moved in. And my father-in-law came up to see us, and him and my husband actually spent, I think, like 2 whole days unpacking our place while I was in the hospital with our son, recovering. So I'm just hoping that we don't have to do that again. So that is everything that's current for me right now. I apologize for my video being a day late and also for not doing them on vacation, but back to regular schedule now. No more days in bed, hopefully. Like, I've already had 2 of them this week, including yesterday, so hopefully no more days in bed, and I'll keep up with everything and keep everything updated, and hopefully I will have more information in terms of pregnancy next time that I have a video. Fingers crossed that will include my surgical record. Alright, you guys, have a great weekend. I hope your holidays were fantastic. And I also hope that if you did make New Year's resolutions, I chose not to this year, but if you did, I hope that they're going well for you, as we are still in the first week, and I hope that they will work out throughout the rest of the year. Thanks, guys.